Hey Sainers, welcome back to the Saints TV YouTube channel and welcome to the 2023 St Kilda Draft wrap-up. The last couple of days has been busy. The Monday, the Tuesday, Fox footy coverage that just takes too long. Today we also had the preseason draft and the rookie draft, so we'll talk about that a little bit because we were actually active in that, which I didn't think we would be, but we were. But in terms of the draft, let's get straight into it. Good job, Sauce & Co. Very happy with that. We went into the draft with an okay hand. We didn't have much to work with, but there was flexibility around us that we could get involved with other clubs wanting to trade picks. We ended up using 18, 28, 33, 50, and 62. So we moved up a couple of spots. The 33 wasn't there before. We got that done in a trade, and then obviously we moved up for pick 50 as well. And then we obviously ended up with 62 because of all the teams skipping. So that came in quite a bit from what it originally was. So in terms of our first pick, let's go through it. Darcy Wilson from the Murray Bushrangers, 185 centimetre, hard running, attacking midfielder that loves a goal, operates on left foot and right foot. He mentioned that himself in his interview with the club, that his dad says that you're no use if you can't kick on both sides, and that's an awesome attitude to have straight off the bat. He's a decent size already. He's quite fit, which is good. We're not getting a player that needs to hit the gym for 5 years. He can come straight in into an AFL environment and feel pretty comfortable with himself physically. I think it's just the best available midfielder that we had at that time. There were other options around us, but in terms of a need, in terms of having a power runner that can also hit the scoreboard, which I don't think we can underestimate. I think that's really important, is that our mids don't kick a lot of goals. They don't. And we've lost Gresh, who goes into the midfield but can kick goals. We want a guy that's willing to take the game on, push forward and kick goals. So I think he does that. He's also very, very good by foot, and he connects the game very nicely. He's that sort of handball, keep running and collect and keep moving the game sort of player. And he's, like I said, he's a good size. So I think that's a great pickup. I think everyone's quite happy with that. I don't know if he's the sort of player that can play round one, but all these guys are going to surprise in the off-season. That's what this is about now, is getting to work and seeing where you're at come March next year and how your preseason and then your practice games go. But Darcy Wilson, I think, is a fantastic pickup. Lance Collard at 28. Now, that was one that got everyone talking online, and that's because he's from WA. Other clubs didn't want to pick him because they're worried that eventually he might want to go home. And I get that, but I love that our club is backing the environment, is backing the people in charge to get a guy that might have, maybe at some point in his career might feel a little bit homesick, might be looking at home going, I wouldn't mind playing in WA again. And trusting the environment, trusting the players. We've got plenty of players that are from interstate now. Look at Naz and the links that we had to South Australia, and there were talks of him going back home. He's re-signed. We've got players that have gone through that process and come out the other way and are now clearly, real true Sainers. So I back us to really wrap our arms around Lance Collard, and he looks like a guy that will just hit the ground running. He's got so much talent, and you lose player like Gresh, who's that X factor in the forward half. You want to pick up some X factor, and that was my worries, that maybe Gresh put us off that type of player, but not the case with Lance Collard. He's a player that can be very mercurial in front of goal. We need someone like that. Butler and Higgins are great, but this guy genuinely will make something out of nothing. Butler's that rover and finisher. Higo tries to play tall when he's not. We need someone that's just that pure goal-hungry forward, and he is exactly that. He leads up. He's got a phenomenal leap. Great mark for his size. He's 185 centimetres, so he's not the shortest. He's much taller than Higo and Butler. He's quicker, and he's great on left foot and right foot, So we've got a very, very talented player there. A lot of other club supporters were thinking, wow, okay, that's a very, very good pickup at 28, Lance Collard. He's got a lot of talent. One of the most talented players in this year's draft pool. So that's a great, great selection there. That was the first night. I was pretty stoked about that, to be honest. Both players quick, good by foot, one mercurial, one also has an eye for goal. Very attacking play from the Saints. I liked that. Then the next night, I actually thought night 2 would be a little bit quiet. I don't know why. I just had a feeling we wouldn't be as active. But we were. And this was as exciting, maybe if not more exciting than the first night, for just surprising reasons. You know, there were a lot of players available at pick 33 that we could go for. There were a lot of names still on the board that were very talented. Obviously, Ollie Murphy was the one that a lot of people thought we would go. He's the mad saner. He's a 200-centimetre defender. We're crying out for some more defensive stocks. He's a player that models his game on Cal Wilkie, but he just didn't go very well at the draft combine, from what I've heard, and that put a few clubs off. So that's why he slipped as far as he did. We didn't select him, and that was a massive shock. But who we selected was Angus Hasty at 190 centimetres, Geelong Falcons. And we know Geelong Falcons, they create a lot of very, very good footballers. And unfortunately, all of them go to Geelong, but this kid didn't. So very happy there. He wasn't in my sort of profile. I didn't really consider him as an option for us. But when you look at the players that we lost, you know, the Caulfields, the Highmores, the running sort of intercept half-backs, this guy is exactly that, but he's quicker and he's better by foot and a nice big kick as well. So I love, again, similar to the night before, we went for someone that's attacking, someone that can play on small and tall. Because of his versatility, I think that was a big selling point for Sauce. He talked about that briefly in an interview, that he can play on a small and be quick enough to stick with them. But he's 190 centimetres and he's only 18. So there's time for growth there, and he can play on the talls. So there's versatility there. There's a guy that's willing to take the game on. And we know our style of play is get the ball. We want to get it into the right people's hands at halfback and slingshot quickly and aggressively to our forward half. We did that partly this season, but we lost a bit of that when we had to move Sinclair out of the back half. But now with players like Hasty, and I'll talk about another bloke that we got later that night, that allows us to basically play Sinclair as a full-time mid. So I'd be staggered next year if we ever see Sinclair at halfback with these players fit and available if they are in the lineup. So that's a really exciting prospect for Saints fans, to be able to have that versatility in the back half, but aggressiveness and attacking flair that we've missed for so long. And you look at a lot of the best teams, they take the game on from the back half. And we clearly want to be running and gunning a lot next season based on these selections. At pick 50, we moved up to get this guy. So we made a trade to get this guy. So clearly he stands out. I don't think he was at the combine, but in another trial, his 20 meters was 2.91 seconds. So he is lightning off the deck, and he averaged 7 tackles per game in his 11 games last season. So he's a great aggressive midfielder, but he's also quick. So he's not the sort of slouchy, slow type that we've probably been used to in the midfield. He has got some serious wheels, and that's Hugo Garcia from the Calder Cannons. I love the video that the club posted of his family and friends when we called his name out. That's the sort of, surprise stories that you love from the draft. But he gives us a different avenue. It's, again, a midfielder, but he's got wheels. No surprise there. Ross wants people that are quick and can run. But he's probably the most defensively focused player out of the 5 that we selected. So I think he's definitely the type of midfielder that Ross Lyon would love. He's aggressive, but he's quick. So he can play that defensive style, but he's got the wheels to be attacking as well. Again, versatility and able to accommodate different positions and different styles based on what team we're playing and what the coaches want. So very happy to see Hugo Garcia as a Sainer. And a lot of people think the next person I'm about to talk about was the steal of the draft. Now, he wasn't the steal of the draft at the start of the night, obviously, but he's the super boot of the draft. Probably the biggest boot in the AFL draft this season, can launch it easily 65-70 on the run. And we haven't had a player like that. I would say like a defensive-minded player like that since Matty Maguire, and I guess Shane Savage. But Matty Maguire, when you were 60 out and you got him running past, you give it to him every time, and his right boot would nail it outside 50 comfortably. This guy can do that. And that's Ari Shamaker at 194 centimetres from the Tasmania Devils, Launceston Football Club as well. We've picked him up, and he was touted as sort of a top 20, top 30 pick. Now, I believe there were some issues pre-season, like disciplinary things that maybe caused him to push out the way he did. And to the point where he didn't think he was going to get selected. When they interviewed him on Fox Footy, he was basically telling his mum, I don't think this year's the year. And then we came in, and I loved that we did that. 70-metre kicker who's 194 centimetres. He's not the tallest defender, but he's still tall. Comfortably, he would fit into our back line. And again, you can see that profile of the type of player that we wanted in this year's draft. We want to really dumb it down, Saners. Clearly, from the coaching staff, we want players that can bloody kick, and he can kick. And it's not just about kicking far. He can hit targets. Think Daniel Rich. He can hit targets on a dime, but he can also launch it. You think of games this year where we couldn't break the zone, we couldn't get out of the back half. Having an outlet like him that can clear the ball past the wing off a kick opens the game up completely. And then we've got runners. Clearly, that's a skill that we've lacked in the back half. We've got good kickers, but not players that can really open up the game like him. Really, really happy to have him. I think that, some of these players, you look at Collard, you look at Sean Maker, and you think maybe there's a little bit of a risk there, in terms of maybe if they're a personality fit or geographical fit. But I love that we're backing ourselves and we're just picking the best bloody player available. We didn't overcomplicate things. We went for the best players at the picks. We traded up. We were clever with what we did, even getting that future second rounder from GWS, swapping 18 and 17 because they wanted James Leake and we wanted Darcy Wilson. That was awesome. And we were always probably going to take Darcy Wilson, but we got a second round pick just for free, just because we could. So we were aggressive. We were clever. Perfect draft to me. I think that was fantastic. I think that they can all be very, very valuable players for St Kilda. And that didn't end there. Today, we had the preseason draft. We didn't do anything in the rookie draft, but in the preseason draft, we picked up ex-Port Adelaide power player, delisted at the end of this season, Riley Bonner. Now, that's another one that kind of came out of left field. 26 years old, 190 centimetres, 85 kilos. Again, a guy that can launch it. He's a big kick. He's only 26, so fits the age profile really well. And at worst, he's a very, very good depth player. You think of the depth players years gone by when we've had injuries. He's an experienced head that can come in and do a job and do it well. He's played 93 games, 13 goals. He's a defender, but he's also got the ability to play midfield and get around the ball. So I think, again, that just adds a bit of midfield depth, but also experience. And can also play in defense if we need him to. So he's quite the versatile player, ability to go on the wing as well, and uses the ball pretty well. So I'm, really, really impressed with what the club have done, to be honest. I didn't expect much. I didn't expect this much going into the draft. Obviously, night one was really dictated by who was selected in the first 10 to 12 picks, and then what was left over. Luckily for us, there were quite a few options still there, and I think we picked the best available that we could, and we've got midfield talent, we've got speed, we've got size, we've got a couple of massive kicks in there. We did get experience today in Riley Bonner. Defensively, I think we've gotten stronger, and most importantly, in terms of leg speed and attack, we've improved massively. So I think we couldn't have done better, Saners. Full credit to Sauce and the recruitment team for the research they've done. And also just the club backing themselves on a couple of kids that maybe a lot of clubs were, overthinking about and maybe thought maybe that's a bit of a flight risk there. But we've backed ourselves to turn these boys into some guns, and I'm all here for it. So I'll wrap it up there, Saners. Thank you very much for watching. This is the 2023 draft wrap-up video. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Please like, comment your thoughts. Tell me, out of these picks, out of the 5 that we took from the draft, as well as Riley Bonner, obviously today, who are you most excited about? What's the best thing about this draft that we've done? Is there anything that maybe we could have done better? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Drop it in the comments as some feedback, and I'll be back for my next video next week. But until then, Saners, take care, and as always, go you mighty Saners. See you guys.